What is cracking, guys? It's about freaking time. I keep saying that the RSX review is gonna happen, and it's finally here. The RSX is the fourth version of the Shocker. There was like the old shoebox ones, which there are a couple of variations of. Shoebox Shocker, SFT, NXT, RSX. So the Shocker RSX is a mid-range, high-end-ish, tournament-style paintball gun. At this moment, they retail for $700. Let's go over some of the, basic features and stuff that's gonna come with the Shocker RSX. So like every paintball gun in that category, they have good barrel, lever feed neck, on-off, adjustable trigger, ball bearing trigger, OLED screen on the back, quick release bolt system. It's got eyes, has all the firing modes. So in general, the RSX is gonna be quiet. It's not gonna kick that much. Air efficiency on these things is mediocre. You can expect, on a 68-40-500 to shoot about a hopper and, 7, 8-ish pods. So air efficiency is not terrible, but it's definitely not up there in like G-Tech or G-Tech 160R territory, where those guns are getting like, 10-ish, 9-ish pods on 68-45 fills. So yeah, there's nothing that like makes this gun stand out dramatically over its competition, feature-wise at least. So that's specs. Now let's just kind of like talk about the RSX. So when these first came out, they were very, very popular. There was nothing really else in that $700, $800 price range that competed with it. It kind of sat in its own, little price range. And because of that popularity, the re-release and the new RSX made, people excited, and they were interested to check out new Shockers. Guys that maybe played with the SFT or NXT Shockers before quickly jumped on these things because they wanted a new Shocker. When these first came out also, a lot of people kind of hated on it a little bit. Some of the people that were familiar with like the Smart Parts Ion looked at the bolt on this and were like, hey, it's an Ion. And the Ion was Smart Parts' cheaper style gun that sold for $200. And people quickly said that, oh, it's stupid because it comes with that bolt. I personally liked that, right? I always thought the Ion shot pretty good. And that bolt system was fairly reliable. So that was one quick complaint that people had before the gun was ever like even used or shot. Just pictures came out of it and people complained. So let's say some things that I like about RSX and some things I don't like. So I for sure like these barrels. I think it's great that, like the Lux, they already come with that free kit. I'm a fan of the free kit. I think the free kit's one of the better value barrels. It's definitely one of the better performing barrels. And they're just good all-around barrels. I like that bolt release system. It's very easy to take the bolt out. Really easy to put it back together. It's also even easier, not even easier maybe, but it's also easy to like completely disassemble this thing. While it's nice, it's not something that's like, sets it apart. Because most of the guns that are in that like, $500 to $800 price should all have that quick release bolt. And the bolt should come apart easy. But I just think it's kind of clever how you just press a button and it just kind of like pops out. I think it's kind of neat. But that's about all really. I mean, I'm not that big of a fan of these guns. I don't think that these guns are made that well. When we compare it to like the Planet Eclipse guns, you just hold this and you can kind of just feel that it's not made that well. I don't like how the battery does this. I don't know if you can hear that, but the battery jiggles around in there. I'm not a fan of these triggers. I don't like the way the trigger feels. I think this front foregrip is way too small. Even when we put like the Exalt grip on it, or whatever, the HK one, or Shocker Paintball also make a rubber grip that fits over it, it's still too freaking small. I don't like how thin the grip is. I'm not a fan of that. And just in general, from my experience with these, friends that have these things, it's not reliable enough. These guns have problems, and they're not reliable enough. While they might not kick that much and they shoot pretty good, it's just not reliable. So there's more things that I dislike about this than I like, for certain. The unreliability and ergonomics for me, I don't like it. But just because I don't like the ergonomics, doesn't mean you won't. That's definitely a preference thing. I mean, I got big hands, so you know, that's a hand comparison size thing. So yeah, I just don't like it because my friggin' hands are big. But that foregrip is just really, really small. I mean, it's like, I don't know, a half the size of the other ones on the market, or guns or whatever. It's just too small for me. But I feel like what we're really doing when we're talking about this gun, like reviewing this gun, at this point at least, is comparing it to the Planet Eclipse 160R. The 160R is similar in price, so these are now $700. The 160R is $800. These were $800, but then the 160R came out and the Shocker guys wanted to be able to compete with the 160R. So instead of being the same price, they lowered the price a little bit, and this is $100 less than the 160R. For sure, when you pick up the 160R, it's just better, right? Like, the rubber's better. You can feel the aluminum feels better, the anodizing feels better, the machine feels better, tolerances feel better, like everything just feels better. It feels more like a premium product. The 160R is going to be more air efficient, it's going to be more reliable, and overall I think just a better paintball gun. But if you want super small and super light, I mean, the RSX is it. It's definitely going to be lighter and definitely going to have a smaller feel than like the 160R would, or pretty much every other paintball gun out right now. And while I say I don't like these because they're unreliable, I feel like some of them are reliable and some of them aren't reliable, and that's always been a problem with GOG, Smart Parts, or the Lux guns, which are really all made by the same people. Is it seems like there's good ones and bad ones. You'll get a guy who's like, oh, I don't know, I bought mine, you know, 2 years ago and it worked perfectly fine. Never had a single problem with it. Then you get a guy who's like, I bought it a month ago and I haven't been able to play a full day with it. Gone to the paintball field 4 times and halfway through the day it starts leaking, or it gets some weird phantom drop off or velocity problems or something like that. So I think it's like inconsistency. And maybe inconsistency in manufacturing or something, I don't know. But we see an inconsistency in reliability. So that's my I dislike the Shocker RSX review. You can, if you have questions about this thing, leave some comments below, or like this if you dislike or like the Shocker RSX. Or check out more Paintball Ruin My Life reviews in that rectangular box, the Paintball Ruin My Life store in the square one, or that circle one if you haven't already, to keep up on all the Paintball Ruin My Life updates.